Hello. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I think I'm going to give everyone a little bit more time. We have 20 people in here, I think. While we're waiting, I'm going to do some shameless promotion. So if you haven't already, go to the Peak Ranking store, check out the Peak Dad hat right here. Nice little embroidery on the hat. Nice thing about this hat, you can wear it during summer. You didn't comb your hair. Perfect outfit. We also have these Peak Ranking sweaters, nice and embroidered. So if you haven't gone to the store and checked these out, check out the link in the description. All right. Okay. So I think people are just going to trickle in. So in the first couple minutes, what I wanted to do is just go over the results of the survey and kind of talk a little bit about the direction of the channel and just the general Peak Rankings world in the next couple of months. So the nice thing about the summer is it's a time for us to expand and start to look into more content. So some of the stuff that you guys said was really helpful. I think about half of you left really detailed comments in the final session of the survey. So really appreciate it. Just going to go through some of these results and then we'll reveal the winner in a couple minutes. So awesome. Let's get started. As I think a lot of you may not be surprised about, the biggest audience channel for Peak Rankings is YouTube. Of the 774 of you who filled this out, 712 of you are YouTube consumers. And the next biggest channel is actually the website, which surprisingly, only 66% of you use our website. So I think ultimately there's a good amount of feedback you guys gave us on our reviews on our content. I think a lot of you didn't even know the website existed, but we'll be making a couple of changes to how we've done reviews. We actually put out a new Whitefish review this evening. We put out a revamped Breckenridge review on Friday, where we took some of your feedback and we incorporated it to try to get the reviews to flow a little better and to catch your attention a little bit more. So website news and blog posts, that's kind of where we analyze, like trends that have happened within the world of skiing and especially with ski resorts. About 30% of you consume that. I think some feedback that we got was that it might be easier to consume that if it was done in a video format. So we've actually experimented with some shorts where we've gone through and we've talked about certain events that have happened. So for example, Taos, replacing the Lift 4, Alterra acquiring Schweitzer, Park City putting in a new gondola. We've experimented with shorts for those. And for the foreseeable future, we'll be continuing to experiment with those types of shorts. And then the next one, we have Instagram. I think a lot of people have been driven to shorts there. And I know like with Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and our email newsletter, those are a little bit smaller. I think that ultimately with the way that the channel has grown, it probably makes the most sense for YouTube and Instagram to be the biggest channel. I think we might concentrate on TikTok a little bit more. But this is very interesting, super fascinating to see that a third of us kind of like don't look at the traditional YouTube website channels, but very, very, very interesting. So next topic would be the expansion opportunities. So there was actually a pretty mixed array of results here, but hotels and Airbnb options was the most chosen at about 30%. I think that makes a lot of sense. There isn't that much saturation in hotels when it comes to a skiing perspective. We've actually already taken a little bit of this advice and we put out a couple of hotel pieces. We put out a piece on Timberline Lodge. We did a review of the hotel there, and we did, like a ranking of the best hotels in Breckenridge. So we'll continue to put those out. And the other three were basically a statistical tie. So private guided tours, transportation, and equipment. So in terms of equipment, we're probably going to like slow roll into that. There's a lot of saturation there, but we are going to start like recommending skis for certain mountains. We're also going to potentially put out like a list of best skis for certain regions. If you're going to the Rockies, it's versus like the East Coast, a lot of that is pretty similar. But based off of like our knowledge of certain mountains and their snow conditions, we can potentially give a little bit more tailored recommendations there. In terms of private guided tours, where I think a lot of interest, there's a lot of interest is in like, let's say that you have a tour that you want to go on, but it costs $3,000. And let's say that you can basically fit 10 people in a snowcat for that $3,000 tour. But it's basically like you have to pay upfront for that. And if you can't get all 10 people, you can't split the cost. So I think a lot of people want to know whether those tours are worth it, especially if they're like trying to convince another, like a group to go. That's some of the feedback we got there. So if we can get a group, we'll try to do some of those tours next season. And in terms of transportation, I think transportation is a little bit trickier, but still important. Everyone's coming from a different place, but I think there's still room for us to expand into talking about like potential options for getting to resorts, like shuttle services, potential bus routes. If there's like companies that do day trips to like certain mountains, like for example, if you're in Seattle and you want to go to Snoqualmie, or if you're in New York and you want to go to Hunter or Wyndham, we could potentially expand into talking about that type of stuff. Now, I want to quickly go into paid services. A lot of you said that you might look at a local trip guide. I actually set up follow-ups with a couple of you last week, so I got some really good feedback on this. Sounds like there's a potential appetite for group trips. That's something we might explore, maybe do a handful of those next season. We could potentially like show you around town, show you the best restaurants. We could also like give you tips on where to go at certain mountains. Other things that some of you said we should do is we should go and like offer basically like pamphlet individualized recommendations to certain people based off of their needs. So like, for example, if you are like a 22-year-old going to Breckenridge and you're an intermediate, we might like prepare a pamphlet telling you where to stay, what skis to rent, what like discounts you can get. So like if you're 22, you can get the Icon Pass for like a significant discount. If you're a student, you can also get a discount. So that's something that I think a lot of you have expressed interest in. So we might expand into something like that in the future. And a bunch of you guys like put in custom, like services you would pay for. One of which was making merch. So I think we've done a really bad job of actually plugging our merch, but we've had merch for like 3 years. So go buy our Peak Dad hat. Go buy our Peak sweatshirts. They're all in the store, all in the description. It'll really help us out, and you'll be repping some of the best swag that you can find in the ski sports industry, in the snow sports industry. Awesome. Sweet. Let's move on. And we asked if you wanted us to expand into certain services, one of which was offering users the ability to write audience reviews for each resort. So more than half of you wanted this. And this is honestly something that we felt has been really important for a while. We're actually working to rebuild the website so we can enable these features. We're working to potentially like beta test it within the next couple months. So once that's out, we will post it on the channel and we'll let you guys know. So if anyone actually wants to, test it out before it's rolled out to the public, we're more than happy to have you like be our guinea pigs. And that's definitely something that we're going to try to have before the start of next season. Depending on tech work, may be plus or minus a couple of months, but that is our aim. The next two that got a pretty substantial amount of interest were a podcast and offering ASMR video footage of the resorts. So one thing we're probably going to try to do is compile like 4K video footage of the resorts we've put up video reviews, and we'll start a new channel. It's still work in progress, but it'll probably be called Peak ASMR. But it'll literally just be like footage we've captured on the slopes, and you can literally just watch it. There won't be any music. It'll literally just be like the sound effects of the slopes. I think a lot of people have actually wanted to see that, and it's actually not that saturated. So we're going to try that out, see how much interest there is, and we'll hope to have a couple of those out before the start of the winter. In terms of a podcast, this is something that if you guys have been following us for a long time, you've known that we previously had the Off Peak podcast. Now, this was something we started like right when Peak Rankings was a thing, like during COVID. We basically decided to start a podcast. It was me and then Nicole, George, and Steve, who I think some of you may remember, but we actually kind of deprioritized that to get into video production. But we may have a little bit more bandwidth to restart the podcast. So this is something that, we're going to explore. We want to bring it back. We'll probably see if we can do it right. We don't want to bring it back if it's going to be like, like something we can't do consistently. So we're exploring it over the next couple of months. And we're going to try to get like a really good podcast going for you guys. And then finally, the Discord channel. So we're actually going to see if we can spin one of these up within the next couple of weeks. So if you're interested in a Discord channel, we're going to see if we can spin up like a channel for each individual resort. People can kind of discuss their thoughts on it. If there's any news, we can kind of like chat it through. But I think the Discord will be really great. So we'll let you know when it's up, and honestly, just looking forward to discussing a lot of stuff with you guys. So awesome. I think that's pretty much it. So let's get to the winner. So if you're not familiar with Google Sheets, let me kind of give you a rundown of what's going on here. So in column A, I've hidden everyone's email who signed up for this survey. And so basically what this formula is doing is it will just output a random email from those of you who actually inputted this survey. And when I click the equals button here, it will go through and it'll actually output the email of the winner. So just going to quickly do this. And Armand679@gmail.com, you're the winner of the $500 vacation package. So congratulations. And if you're not on the live stream, we'll email you. You will have a choice between a pair of skis, pair of snowboards, or a trip, or a guided package. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Armand679@gmail.com. Congratulations, and hope you enjoy your package. We'll be in touch. But thanks for tuning in for our first live stream, guys. Be sure to check out our merch and have a great night.